I'll ask this. Do you want to date an average man?
What do you mean?
Right?
Average man.
What?
Define,
I mean,
please.
like somebody who's just not rich, like just a regular person.
Average height, average income, average personality, average looks, average.
The guy you see on the street.
No, I wouldn't mind. No.
Average man.
No, average woman, yeah. Just don't really feel
Wait.
like dating a man right now.
Because
So.
the average
Well, I
woman
mean-
is hotter. That's why.
Just in general, I don't mind about average, I guess.
Okay, interesting. What about you?
No.
You don't want to date an average guy?
No.
What component of it would you not want? Like
I need
the money?
I need the man to make more money than me.
How much money? Okay, how much money does a guy need to earn to date you?
I don't know. Like monthly or like annually?
Annually.
Either. Sure. Per year.
Annually.
500K?
Whoa.
Nice by saying whoa.
You realize
That's
that's
the
like
top
But it's
1%.
possible.
That's
That's
1%.
But it's possible.
That's one.
Yeah, but
Yeah, 1%
what's
is
possible
possible.
isn't necessarily probable. Do you think? And you have how many kids?
3.
3 from different.
No.
Wait, same father.
person.
You are a sex worker. You're an escort. I'm not saying that to insult you, but do you think that a guy who makes at minimum $500,000 is interested in dating a sex worker escort
No.
with 3 children?
No, definitely not. But I mean,
So
at
shouldn't
the
you
end of the
adjust?
day,
But
it-
shouldn't you adjust your standards to be a little
No.
more realistic?
No.
So would you rather die?
There's a reason why I'm single. Like, I don't want to be with somebody.
But do you see how ridiculous it is to demand a guy who makes $500K to accept? Like, you got to adjust your standards a little bit if you want a man.
Well, tough for the men. I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't say it's tough for
See,
a
I don't
man.
see,
care
that's
for
crazy
them
to-
right now.
that's
I don't
crazy to
find
me.
It's one of
anybody
the craziest
sexually
things I've heard.
attractive to
I
me.
don't
I'm
think-
not talking to nobody like that for real. Like, I am, but I'm not. Like, but it's
Into the mic, please.
like, I tried, but I'm struggling.
Q, you had something on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's,
I just want to let you know that this is according to the Internal Revenue Service. Less than 1% of all tax filers reported an adjusted gross income exceeding $500,000. 1%.
Huh? Well, that's on them.
Go ahead, Q.
I was saying that's crazy because you'd rather be alone than
Yeah.
lower your standards from
Yes.
500K a year.
I mean, I got other standards too, but it's like that money-wise, yes. But like average man, height, weight, and stuff. Average man is like what, 5'10"?
Well, yes, let's go into that.
Like-
You said other standards.
I don't
What
want
are your
short
other
dudes.
standards?
I mean, I
So-
don't want a short dude. I just
Okay,
want
how tall are you?
5'2", 5'3".
What's the minimum height for a guy?
For me, what I like, I think 6 foot or taller, I guess. But that's like the basic. A lot of women are like that nowadays.
So I think the average male height is like 5'9",
It's like
5'10".
It's 5'9",
It is.
5'10",
So you
right?
just
That's
just
what
on
I'm
the
saying.
height metric, if you want a guy who's 6 feet and above, you've already reduced your pool to 15% of men.
course.
Just on the height metric, that's 15. Okay, what else?
I guess. I mean, not look. Are you talking about personality too?
All right, so 500K, 6 feet and over. You said there were some other. That was just one of your standards. What are your other standards?
I guess. I just want him to have a car. I mean, I want
Well,
him
if
to
he
be able
makes-
to. I want him to be okay with me having a past and like quitting what I do basically for him specifically.
And do you think you gotta ask yourself, okay, here's all that I want, but what does the guy that I want, what does he want? And do you think that he's the guy who's not going to care about your past, and you know you've got the 3 kids, and you used to do or you still do sex work
There's people who don't care about that though. There are men who don't care
that
about
make
that at all.
500K?
I mean, 300. I could do 400,
Oh,
300. I
you'll
could
be
do
generous.
that, but
You'll be
I'll be generous.
charitable. You'll date a guy who makes
But
400K.
why though? What do you need?
what do you mean?
Cannot make this shit up.
You require that much money. You require 6
It
feet.
costs that much
No.
to have kids, though. It costs
No,
a
it
lot
doesn't.
in this
It costs
population.
30 grand.
I live in
Yeah,
New
he's
York
right.
City.
He's-
That's
he's
average.
right.
I live in New York
Not
City.
even
It
close.
doesn't.
In straight Manhattan, like
It doesn't.
It's expensive.
Yeah, but it doesn't cost 500K. Andrew's
Like, bro,
correct.
you
It doesn't
need to be
cost that
making
much.
at least 15K living in New York almost months to be
Listen, you can raise an entire family. It may not be optimal. You may not get the big screen TV and the Bugatti, but you can raise a family on $50,000 a year in most
Not in New
parts of
York
the Midwest
City.
of the United
Now,
States.
Panda Man says, "You far from a 10. No man making 500K is going to waste his time on you. LOL. Stop acting if you have options. Single mom."
Oh well. There's a reason I'm a
What
single
about?
mom by choice.
Does he have to be good looking in the face?
I mean, I could do the average look. Yes.
Average face.
They don't have to
What
be
about
like
body?
beyond
What
out
about
there.
body?
I don't mind actually thick men. I
Bigger guy.
don't care about like weight wise. So I've dated
Okay.
men in the past.
Penis
that were,
size,
like,
is that
you
a
know,
factor? Penis size
No.
doesn't
I like
matter.
average actually.
peen. Okay, so 6 feet, 500K.
I'll go lower, but
Did you
Depends on
say
the
you have
man.
a race preference? Race preference? White.
Latinos.
Latinos?
Yes. I like Latinos.
You made it.
Yeah. About the 6 foot Mexican.
Mexican.
Yeah, 6 foot Mexican.
I live in El Paso, and there's not really many 6 foot Hispanic men.
Well, isn't it the case?
We're making
Hispanic-
500K a year.
Latino men are.
Yeah.
average is a
You
little
want to
short.
grab one of the 30,000 Hispanic men who make $500,000 plus a year.
Yeah.
That's your goal. Who are over?
But he
I would
doesn't. But
say
he
the
doesn't
odds
have to
is
be
more than
Latino,
that.
right? Yeah, he doesn't have
I mean,
to be
goals.
Latino.
This is
Goals.
crazy.
Well, I want a man that can teach my kids Spanish. I mean, they already are learning it.
got
Like
Spanish.
they're already half Hispanic, anyways, regardless. So I want them to know Spanish. It's good on a resume to know another language. Like that's a lot of reason why people get hired if they know a second language, especially
that's true.
Spanish. Like that is a
Everybody
job
knows
factor
you never
itself.
go full
But
retard.
don't you
Yeah, I mean,
think?
for what jobs? For what jobs do you think that people
Anything
it benefits people to be
serving.
I
bilingual?
I mean, you can be a server and still make a lot of money. You can still.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I mean, like,
you can be a server, and then it would be helpful. You could be in telecommunications, and it could be helpful. But most high-paying jobs do not require you to be bilingual. That's absurd.
No, of course not. But I
So
mean,
what
it
is
does.
the
It
what
looks
is the
good
big
on a
benefit? You want your
resume
kids to
in
grow up to be
general.
servers and get extra tips because they speak Spanish, or what?
Are you
No,
trolling?
I want them to.
Are you? This is legit, right?
I literally asked Brian.
No, she is
Dude.
legit. She's legit.
She knows
Yeah.
Wait, but I do have a question for you though. Like, if
You're gonna
you
be
think,
single for a long.
Yeah, I
time.
don't understand sabotaging your.
Wait.
Thomas Foolery donated $69. When I call someone a sex worker, is this for the purpose of insulting them?
Yo, Thomas, thank you.
Society needs to return to shaming this type of fatherless behavior.
Yo, Thomas,
I mean,
we,
I
we
have a
also
dad,
see your
so-
super chat. Thank you, Thomas. It is through Streamlabs. Thank you for making the adjustment. Nick,
I
you can
ask?
pull that up. You can pull it up just to show it. You had something you wanted to ask? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you, Brian.
Tom.
I appreciate it. So I wanted to ask about the $500,000 requirement. Like, do you really like think that a Hispanic man will like? Is that enough for your heart? Do you really think that money matters? Is basically what I'm asking.
At the end of the day, money really doesn't matter because it comes and goes, regardless.
But then, but you're
mean,
saying he needs $500,000.
I mean, I said I'd go.
Okay, so go lower.
100, like,
So
you
go
can go
lower.
for
400K.
but it's like-
She would do 400K.
But the thing
Yeah,
is,
but
like,
that's
I know, but, like,
before taxes. Like that's.
But like I just want to
Like,
let
come
you
on
know
now.
that
Before
like I've
taxes.
dated
Before taxes,
Wait,
come
but like
on.
I just want to let you know that like I've dated guys that make $30,000 or $40,000, and I've made more than them. But I can promise you, the right guy that loves you and accepts you for even what you do will work hard for your family.
Well, yeah. Of
Yeah,
course.
but like the guy that will actually maybe love you is probably 5'3" and is and has $50,000, but he is the one that will fight and will do the most for you, and he's Latino and will teach your kids Spanish.
Wait a second. I just got to ask. Aren't you like 21 or 22 or something?
23, me 23.
You're 20. Yeah, you're 23. What job do you have where you're making more than $50,000 a year?
I said the guy I'm with has made $50,000 or $40,000.
Yeah, but you said you made more than them.
I'm a
You've been with
content
these
creator
guys
and a
and made
salsa
more.
dancer, and also my parents own a school.
So okay, so your parents pay you
My
$50,000
my
a year?
parents own a now we're getting to my finances. I get it. My parents own a school. My dad took over it. I work in part of the school now. Like, it's, yeah,
And you're getting
virtually.
paid more than $50,000 a
with
year
all
at
the with
23?
all the 3 incomes I do with social media, salsa dancing, and the
Drugs.
school.
Drug dealing.
No, never.
sells drugs.
I do not do
She
any
tried to
drugs.
sell
I
me
never
some meth
I
before
never
the show.
condone them ever.
Be honest, you tried to sell me some meth before the show.
Yeah.
What- some
so
Mexican
salsa
Ozempic.
dancing. Do you make a lot of money doing salsa dancing, more than you make in your primary job, perhaps?
Thankfully, with the great dancing that I have, yes.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Okay.
Thank
that makes
you.
more sense as to why you're making a higher
But that
amount of
honestly,
revenue.
like the most high paying one, thanks to God, is the content creation. That's like I feel like it goes with content creation is the same equal as like the school that we
And
have.
I'm guessing that you're
Thanks for
not
letting me
exactly
finish.
dressed
I didn't
modestly when you're
finish.
salsa dancing.
I'm sorry.
I'm guessing you're not exactly dressed modestly when you're salsa dancing.
You wouldn't know that. I have pictures of it.
That's why I said I'm
You say
guessing.
guess.
Honestly, I've literally turned down gigs because of the costumes, and I've had to lose money. But yeah, I
that
turned-
really doesn't answer the question, though.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, everyone has different opinions of modesty. As long as I'm not showing my freaking ass, I'm totally good. And like, I don't like to show. Yeah, I mean, you have to go through my Instagram for that, but I definitely make sure I don't show a lot. I hate to be revealing. I really, really do.
Gotcha. Okay.
Looking at it right now.
Pose a picture of me in the beach.
Anyways, whatever. Here, let me get through a couple questions. Wait, we were going around the table.
Cam donated $69. I live in the LPTX and in Hispanic.
Dude.
5 feet 11 inches with Texican 93K a year. Let a brother know if I measure up, or am I chopped liver?
Is he chopped liver?
Whoop whoop to El Paso.
You're from El Paso?
I live there. I'm not from there.
Would you date this guy?
Wait, what? Repeat
Wait,
it
I
one more
can't-
time.
5'11", white Texican, 93K a year.
Kmasfu20 donated $69. The hubris of some of you limits your ability to differentiate what average is. Brian, get some average guys on your panel to defend this.
They wouldn't know how.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I don't think.
They wouldn't know how.
Honestly, most
I feel like I'm pretty average.
Well, I mean, Andrew, your debate skills
Yeah.
are like most average guys
Beyond
don't
average.
have the debate chops to go up against.
Anonymous donated $69.
Yep, thank you, Anonymous. Appreciate
Could
it.
you please break down the mandatory expenses that require $500K per year? Mortgage, car note, food, etc. Where is this money going?
And that's the point I was getting at. Because I think women throw out these arbitrary numbers of what they want income-wise in a man. And I don't think any of you have made an Excel sheet, a spreadsheet of what all the expenses add up to, what they amount to, and y'all just throw out a number. And it's insane. It's ridiculous because a man doesn't need to make that much to be with you.
I just want to
agree.
say I agree with you, and that sucks. I'm actually so sad we
Wait,
feel
can
that
you break
way.
it down real quick?
I mean, my oldest daughter's school costs $59,000 a year. So, I mean, it costs a lot. She goes to Nightingale.
She
You know
goes
what I'm
to a
talking
private
about in
school?
Manhattan? Yes.
So
It's a
you
Christian private school.
want this
I
guy
don't believe in
to?
no
Can I just
public
ask a
school.
question?
Should your daughter goes to a Christian private school? Your daughter goes to a Christian private school?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your question? Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is this man that is not the father of your children has to make $500,000 or $400,000 a year to pay for your children's education?
I mean, I pay for it, so it doesn't matter.
So then why
right
does
now.
this man have to make $500,000 if you're
Because
paying
he's supposed
for
to be a
it?
provider. I believe in men being
He's not the
providers.
father of the children, though.
I mean, if he wants to marry me and be with me, I mean, you're going to be a stepdad. But first, you're going to be my partner.
But being a stepdad does not mean he has to financially provide for your children.
If he
Then
wanted
don't
to,
marry
he
me.
would, is basically what she's saying.
Can we all go and finish answering?
Yeah,
the
well,
average
why
question?
answer the
What was the
average
question?
Would you
That's-
date the
that's
average male?
crazy.
Wait, what was the question? Oh.
What's the question? Would you date?
Would you date an average guy?
Yeah.
Probably just needs a good personality.
Yeah, same person.
Ripped Rich and Rare donated $69. Don't worry, single moms.
God.
There are simps that want that like Fat Boy Andrew. He married a single mom with 3 baby daddies and takes care of their
Cool.
kids.
Would you date an average guy?
I would date the average guy.
Okay,
Troll with that name?
probably. It's probably somebody trolling. What about you?
100%.
You date an average guy?
100%.
Even though you're... Wait. No, you didn't say you were 10. You said some days you feel like you're a 10.
Yeah,
she
some
said
days I
between
feel like
2
I'm a
and 10.
2. Sometimes I feel like a 5, 10.
Okay. I'm going to do some rapid fire questions here. So, here we go. Just who's the primary victim of war, men or women?
Men.
I can't even.
Men.
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 Probably men.
Men.
Women and children.
We'll come back to that. What about you?
She's kind of right though.
Both. Both.
Okay. So the primary victim of war is both, and you said the primary victim of war is women and children. Would you care to qualify your answer?
So most men that I know, they choose to serve their country. They want to serve their country and they want to go to war. And they are bombing these countries and killing most women and children because they're not removing the women and children before the war starts. These women and children are dying.
True.
Well, typically in military conflicts,
Men
although there
are
are
for it.
civilian casualties,
That's what I'm
typically you're
talking about.
trying to dispatch the other male combatants.
The immediate.
You're not. That's not like
Yeah, but
you're
that's
not.
not always what
You're not intentionally typically going after the civilian
Right.
population.
That's what makes them the victims.
That
But the
makes-
question was
exactly.
primarily though.
Primary.
That
But
was
it's
who was
primary.
the victim. The
Yeah,
question was who was the
the,
victim.
the question was, who is the primary victim of war?
And I
men
think-
or women?
I think they
I
are.
believe women and children are the primary victims because they're the ones that are getting they are
Yeah,
the
it depends.
casualties at war. Now most men that are going to war, they don't see themselves as victims. They see themselves as
If you die in a
honoring
war,
their country.
Okay.
I'm changing my
hold on.
answer.
What do you change your
Yeah,
answer
now
to?
that I understand it clear, men. They're the one that dying.
Yeah, because a lot of men they're forced to go.
Yeah.
Like,
I
they're not
said-
forced to go,
I
but,
said
like,
both.
I agree with you too. Like a lot of women and children, they
Well,
get killed because
here. Let me
it's a
let me
war.
ask you a couple clarifying questions to you.
Me?
To you.
Yeah.
In World War I and World War II, when it comes to the
Draft?
hold on, let me ask the question. You don't need to preempt what I'm going to ask you. Of the population of the United States, who was the primary victim of war, men or
Men.
women,
Men.
for both conflicts?
I believe. Oh, well, if you're talking about like Pearl Harbor, it was men and women. It was equally deaths because a lot of women died at the bombs on ship.
I think that's dubious. I don't have the data in front of me. I don't suspect there was an equal distribution of deaths during Pearl Harbor between men and women. Perhaps there were surely nurses or something, but that's dubious. I don't know if somebody can do quick research on that, Nick.
But I mean, if you're saying like World War I and II, men definitely were victims of dying to war. Yes.
Okay.
But we were asking who the majority of the victims are, and it's the women and children that are dying for the casualties.
So you think the majority of wars there's more women and children casualties than the men who are at war?
I mean, they're affected, but not primarily the one that
I
are
wouldn't know the
impacted.
statistics, but women and children don't ask to die. I mean, these men that are going to war, they have the assumption that
Girl,
they
you
might
think a lot of
die.
the men
So
talking
even
about,
if-
I want to fight for my country. No, they get taken from their families because they be the only sons and they don't have no choice.
The draft hasn't happened in how many years?
Lost
Vietnam.
I mean, they be
All
they
the war
have
that
more
is
than one
happening
son. My
now.
bad. They have more than one son.
All
they
the
get
war. Which
Yeah,
wars?
I just want to
Wait,
correct
hold on.
something real quick. The estimates of civilian deaths in World War II range from about 38 million to 55 million civilian. What do you think that the overall deaths in that war were from non-civilian casualties?
The overall? I wouldn't
Yeah,
know.
that's, well, so non-civilian casualties. So if the estimates are 38 to 55 million civilian deaths, how many people do you think who were not civilians lost their lives?
30 to 55 million? Definitely not millions. I mean, I wouldn't know.
You talking World War II?
Oh, well then, I mean, World War II was the Holocaust almost. I mean, that was Hitler, was it not?
Andrew, you're asking about military casualties, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, you don't think there were millions of military?
Oh, most definitely there was millions of
Well, that's-
military people that died. I'm sorry,
So
I
if
didn't
we were
understand
to
the
take
question.
it and we say that the civilian deaths, somewhere around 55 million, we know that the 20 million military deaths were basically primarily male. And we know that the civilian deaths are going to be a mixture of men and women, boys and girls. So the thing is that even by this logic, men still overwhelmingly take more casualties and have more deaths in war than women do.
Right, but
Even
are
if we
they?
were to parse it up by civilian casualties, the most of which are not women, it's
But are
mixed.
they victims because they chose to fight?
That doesn't make it.
I'm just asking.
What?
Does that make them a victim if they chose to do something? They
Well,
went
it's
into
not
a
a choice.
situation.
You got drafted, right?
Oh, we are talking about drafted. Then yes, most.
Well, I would argue even among the volunteer force, if you end up going to war and dying, you're still a victim.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Right, yeah.
Now, perhaps there was some understanding that there was a risk when you're volunteering that, perhaps you volunteered during peacetime. You're some Kansas boy, 1940, and then, no anticipation that the United States is going to get involved in this European conflict. Well, there was the Pacific campaign and theater, but you're still a victim if you die.
I could see that. I don't disagree.
Primarily, though, I would just have to ask, what do you think men are fighting for? What do you think the incentive is if you get drafted as a man to go to war?
If you're in America for the freedom of the Constitution,
Yeah, nobody's going over and dying for the freedom of the Constitution. Maybe some people are, but for the most part, don't you think that people are going over under the propaganda of fighting for their families and fighting for the women and children in their domestic homelands?
I wouldn't know because I haven't been to war.
Yeah, I'm not asking you if you've been to war. So I also have not been to war, but I can still speculate as to the motivations of people who go to war and what it is that they're going to war over.
I just know a lot of I have a lot of friends that are in infantry, and they thrive to go overseas to fight for some reason. But those are just the
Because
men
they're
that I know.
protecting they're protecting their homeland, right?
Right. Protecting the
And
Constitution.
mostly that they're protecting the women and children in their homeland. That's their motivation.
100%.
Yeah, so what they're doing is they're going and dying for women and children.
Let me ask a question. So you know how there's medics in the military. So if there's female nurses, and let's say there was a bombing campaign from the belligerent force, and this belligerent force thought it necessary or beneficial for the war effort to bomb. Actually, this is probably a war crime, so I'm kind of to bomb the. Where the nurses are, and let's say this is primarily made up of women who are treating injured soldiers. Would those women, even though they are volunteers or drafted, or let's just say they're volunteer nurses in the military, are they not victims if they end up dying within?
I mean, yeah, they are.
But they volunteered to go into a war zone and be.
Are they victims? Of course, they're victims, but they chose they chose to put themselves in harm's way.
But why are you saying they're the victims, but men who volunteer into the military are
men
not
are
victims
like
too?
people that die are victims, yes, but they, like I said, they also chose to put themselves
Sure.
in harm's way.
Okay, I have a
Like
question.
you went somewhere
Go ahead.
knowing that you might die.
But okay, isn't your son going into the military?
Yes, and it
He's
scares me
choosing,
every
right?
day.
He's choosing, right?
Wait,
Yes.
what's
So if he
what's-
dies, would he not be a victim because he's choosing to go into the military, though?
I mean, of course he's going to be a victim to death.
Okay, but are
But
you
he
by?
chose to fight, so he has to know he has to know that there could be an outcome of him dying.
Okay, but that he's still a victim if he dies. Is what I'm saying. So what you're saying, even if your son chooses to go, he's not a victim because he volunteered to go fight for his country. Is that what you're saying? Because
No.
I'm not understanding.
What does
Oh.
MOS?
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
Oh, he doesn't know yet.
No, they won't
If
let
I
him
just
go
ask
infantry.
it this way, let me just ask it this way. If you were drafted tomorrow, would you go?
Yes, because I was drafted.
Okay, why
What?
would you go?
Wait, hold on.
I have no choice.
Oh, okay, I see it. Because you were okay. You
He
were.
said if you were drafted, would you go
No,
tomorrow?
you
Yes.
could you can dodge a draft. You
I
can,
wouldn't
go to
dodge a
different-
draft.
Yeah, okay, you wouldn't dodge a draft. Got it. So then you're not forced to go. So what would your motivation be to go?
Well, you just said I was drafted. If I was drafted, would I go?
know,
I
but
said
you're not
yes.
actually. Even if you're drafted, you can flee and not go to the draft, like other men have done. Tell me though, what would your motivation be for going?
To protect my children.
To
Back
protect
home
your
in the
children,
States?
right? So then
Yeah. I
the
would kill
thing
for my
is
children.
that If men are the victims of war, they're being victimized in war in order to protect women and children, right? If you were drafted, would you consider yourself a victim if you were killed in a foreign war?
I mean, if I was drafted, yes.
Yes.
But if I chose
And
to
most,
go,
most
no.
men in most of these large-scale conflicts were drafted.
If I was chose to go, I wouldn't see that I was a victim. I would know that I chose to put myself in harm's way, and if I died, I died.
So
Well-
as long as they volunteer to protect the children, then they're not victims. But if they're drafted, they are victims.
I mean, you knew what you were going into when you went to go fight for a country.
Anyways,